What does Colossians 2 verse 8 mean? In prior verses, Paul focused on a positive depiction of the Colossian believers and their faithfulness. Here, he transitions to warning them against false teaching. Jesus came to set captives free, Luke 4 verse 18, Romans 7 verse 6, Galatians 3 verse 23, not to leave people in spiritual chains. Paul personally dealt with sin seeking to make him captive, Romans 7 verse 23, yet fought against every evil thought to make it captive to Christ, 2 Corinthians 10 verse 5. What could take the Colossians captive? Paul mentions philosophy, which he means in a very specific sense. This is not a broad reference to all meanings of that term. The Bible's stance on deep thinking, logic, and philosophy is very positive, Acts 17 verse 11, 1 John 4 verse 1, Proverbs 15 verse 28. In this context, Paul is condemning philosophy, which is based on explicitly anti-Christian principles. In verse 4, he referred to these kinds of arguments as deceptive, using a Greek term which implies trickery or cheating. In other words, actual critical thinking is not the problem. Self-deluding, worldly philosophical tricks are the problem. 2 Timothy 3 verse 7. The false teachers of Colossae are using these kinds of attacks against Christ. Paul refers to empty deceit. This would include hollow rhetoric or outright lies. Elemental spirits, in this context, is a reference to the basic assumptions we use in our thinking, Galatians 4 verse 3. If a person starts from a blatantly anti-spiritual standpoint, they are going to come to anti-spiritual conclusions. This, again, reminds us that fallen human wisdom can be at odds with Christ's teachings. Paul also refers to human tradition, reminding the reader that simply because an idea is preferred or historical does not make it true. The phrase in Greek is parados en ton anthropon. This implies the laws, rules, or handed-down regulations of humanity. Paul wants the Colossians, and all believers, to focus on truth and on Christ, not on trickery and human preference.